Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone and you can feel it. They're interested, but they're not ready to say yes just yet. They're hesitant, maybe even a little unsure. And here's the big question. What do you do next? Do you push harder? Do you try to convince them with every trick in the book? Or is there another way, a better way to close the deal without making them feel pressured or overwhelmed? Let me tell you something that might surprise you. The secret to closing sales isn't about being slick or aggressive. It's not about memorizing scripts or using fancy tactics to manipulate someone into saying yes. No, the real secret lies in serving. That's right, serving. When you focus on helping the other person solve their problem, when you genuinely care about their needs, the sale takes care of itself. It's almost like magic, but it's not magic at all. It's trust, it's connection, it's understanding. Here's how it works. Picture yourself as a guide, not a salesperson. Your job isn't to sell. Your job is to help the other person make the best decision for themselves. Start by asking questions, not just any questions, questions that matter, questions that uncover what they truly want, what keeps them up at night, what excites them, what frustrates them. When you listen closely to their answers, you'll start to see things they might not even realize themselves. You'll begin to understand their pain points and desires better than they do. And once you know that, you can position your solution as exactly what they've been looking for all along. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They hear solution and immediately think, okay, time to pitch. But hold on. Pitching too soon is like trying to run before you learn to walk. Instead, take a step back. Share stories. Stories are powerful because they resonate with people on an emotional level. Tell them about someone else who was in a similar situation, someone who faced the same challenges and found success through what you're offering. Make it relatable. Make it real. Let them see themselves in that story. And here's the kicker. Once you've built that connection, once you've shown them how your product or service can genuinely improve their life, stop talking. Yes, you heard that right. Stop. Too many people keep going thinking they need to fill the silence. But silence is golden. Give them space to think, to process, to decide. Sometimes the best thing you can do is simply sit back and let them come to you. There's one more piece to this puzzle, and it's something that makes all the difference. Confidence, not cockiness, mind you, but quiet confidence. Believe in what you're offering. If you don't believe it's worth it, why should anyone else? Speak with conviction. Show enthusiasm, not the over-the-top kind, but the kind that comes from knowing you're providing real value. People can sense authenticity, and when they do, they're far more likely to say yes. So how do you bring all of this together? How do you close the deal without feeling pushy? Here's the formula. First, serve. Second, listen. Third, connect. Fourth, present. Fifth, pause. And finally, trust. Trust the process. Trust the relationship you've built. Trust that if you've done your job well, the outcome will follow naturally. When you approach sales this way, it stops being about transactions and starts being about transformation. It becomes less about convincing and more about collaborating, less about pressure and more about partnership. And when you operate from that place, something incredible happens. People don't just buy from you, they thank you for it, because they know you didn't just sell them something. You helped them change their life. That's the power of this method. It's simple, but it's profound. It's not about tricks or gimmicks. It's about heart. It's about honesty. It's about putting the other person first and letting everything else fall into place. So go ahead, try it. See what happens when you shift your focus from selling to serving. You might just find that closing sales becomes easier and more rewarding than you ever imagined. Now let's talk about something that often gets overlooked when we think about sales: preparation. Preparation isn't glamorous, but it's absolutely essential if you want to close deals without coming across as pushy or desperate. Think of it this way: you wouldn't go into a job interview unprepared, would you? Of course not. You'd research the company, practice your answers, and make sure you're ready to present yourself in the best possible light. The same principle applies here. Before you sit down with anyone, take the time to understand their world. What challenges are they facing? What goals are they trying to achieve? What obstacles stand between them and where they want to be? When you walk into that conversation armed with knowledge, you'll come across as thoughtful, professional, and genuinely invested in helping them succeed. But preparation goes beyond just knowing facts about the other person or their situation. It's also about preparing your mindset. Sales can sometimes feel like an uphill battle, especially when you hit roadblocks or face rejection. That's why it's so important to remind yourself why you do what you do. What drives you? Is it the satisfaction of solving problems for others? Is it the thrill of seeing someone's life improve because of what you've offered? Whatever it is, hold on to that motivation. Let it fuel your confidence and keep you grounded during tough moments. Remember, every no brings you closer to a yes, provided you stay focused and positive. Another key element of preparation is anticipating objections. Let's face it, objections are inevitable. No matter how perfect your product or service may seem, people will always have questions or concerns. And guess what? That's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's an opportunity. An objection means the other person is engaged. They're thinking critically about what you've presented, which is a good sign. But how you handle those objections makes all the difference. If you react defensively or try to dismiss their concerns, you'll lose credibility. On the other hand, if you approach objections with curiosity and empathy, you'll build trust and strengthen the relationship. Ask follow-up questions to dig deeper into their hesitation. Often what seems like a straightforward objection is actually masking a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. By uncovering the root cause, you can offer solutions that truly resonate. One common objection you might encounter is price. People will say things like, "It's too expensive," or "I need to think about it." Now here's the thing. Price objections aren't really about the price itself. More often than not, they stem from a lack of perceived value. If someone doesn't fully understand the benefits of what you're offering, they'll naturally focus on the cost. So instead of lowering your prices or throwing in discounts right away, reframe the conversation. Help them see the bigger picture. Explain how your solution saves them time, reduces stress, or creates opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. Paint a vivid picture of the long-term value they'll receive. When you shift the focus from cost to benefit, price becomes less of an obstacle. And speaking of value, let's talk about how you communicate it. Words matter. The language you use can either inspire action or create confusion. Too many salespeople fall into the trap of using jargon or technical terms that only confuse the other person. Instead, aim for simplicity. Use everyday language that anyone can understand. Break complex ideas down into bite-sized pieces. Tell stories that illustrate your point. For example, instead of saying, "Our software optimizes workflow efficiency," You could say, imagine being able to finish tasks twice as fast without sacrificing quality. That's what our tool does for you. See the difference? One version sounds cold and impersonal, the other feels relatable and impactful. Always choose the latter. Another powerful technique is to highlight scarcity, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that emphasizes urgency. People tend to procrastinate when making decisions, especially when it comes to spending money. But when they realize that waiting might mean missing out on something valuable, they're more likely to act. For instance, if there's a limited time offer or a unique opportunity tied to your product, mention it. Just be honest about it. Don't fabricate deadlines or invent artificial scarcity. That's a surefire way to damage trust. Instead, frame it as a genuine advantage. Something like, this bonus feature is available only until the end of the month, so now's the perfect time to get started. Done right, this approach encourages action without feeling forced. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about body language. Even though this is a faceless video, it's worth mentioning because body language plays a crucial role in communication, whether you're speaking in person or virtually. Your tone of voice, your pacing, your energy, all of these factors contribute to how your message is received. A monotone delivery can make even the most exciting content sound dull, while a lively, enthusiastic tone can captivate your audience. So pay attention to how you speak. Vary your pitch and volume to keep things interesting. Pause strategically to let key points sink in. Smile as you talk. It actually changes the way your voice sounds, making it warmer and more inviting. These small adjustments can have a huge impact on how effectively you connect with others. While we're on the topic of connection, let's discuss the importance of building rapport. Rapport is the foundation of any successful relationship, including the ones you form during sales conversations. It's what makes people feel comfortable opening up to you, sharing their thoughts, and ultimately trusting your recommendations. Building rapport starts with finding common ground. Maybe you both love coffee, or perhaps you share a similar hobby. Whatever it is, find something that creates a sense of familiarity. From there, focus on active listening. Nod along as they speak, paraphrase their words to show you're paying attention, and ask thoughtful follow-up questions. When people feel heard and understood, they're far more likely to engage with you on a deeper level. Of course, building rapport takes time, and not every interaction will allow for lengthy conversations. That's where adaptability comes in. Some people prefer quick, to-the-point discussions, while others enjoy taking their time to explore options. Pay attention to cues like their pace of speech, their level of detail, and their overall demeanor. Adjust your approach accordingly. Flexibility is one of the hallmarks of a great communicator. It shows that you respect the other person's preferences and are willing to meet them where they are. Now let's address another critical aspect of closing sales without being pushy. Timing. Timing is everything in sales. Push too soon and you risk overwhelming the other person. Wait too long and you might miss the window of opportunity altogether. So how do you know when the timing is right? Look for signs of readiness. Are they asking detailed questions? Do they seem excited about the possibility? Have they expressed alignment with the benefits you've outlined? These are indicators that they're leaning toward a decision. At that point, it's perfectly appropriate to gently guide them toward the next step. You might say something like, based on what we've discussed, it sounds like this could be a great fit for you. Shall we move forward? Notice how this phrasing assumes agreement while still leaving room for choice. It's assertive yet respectful. Speaking of choices, let's touch on the power of options. Giving people multiple paths to success empowers them to take ownership of their decision. Instead of presenting a single solution, consider offering 2 or 3 tailored options. Each option should cater to different priorities, such as budget, timeline, or specific features. This allows the other person to weigh their preferences and select the path that feels most aligned with their goal. Plus, having options reduces the pressure of committing to one rigid plan, making the entire process feel more collaborative and less intimidating. One final tip I want to share is the importance of follow through. Closing a sale isn't the end of the journey, it's just the beginning. The way you handle post-sale interactions can significantly influence whether that customer becomes a repeat buyer or refers others to you. Make sure to deliver on every promise you made during the sales process. If you said you'd send additional resources, do it promptly. If you promised exceptional support, provide it consistently. Go above and beyond to exceed expectations. Happy customers don't just buy again, they become advocates for your brand, spreading the word and bringing new opportunities your way. Throughout this discussion, I've emphasized serving over selling, listening over talking, and connecting over convincing. These principles aren't shortcuts or tricks, they're timeless strategies rooted in human psychology. People crave authenticity. They want to work with individuals who genuinely care about their success, not those who view them as mere transactions. When you adopt this mindset, you transform the entire dynamic of the sales process. It stops being adversarial and starts becoming collaborative. It shifts from persuasion to partnership. So as you move forward, challenge yourself to embrace this philosophy. Focus on understanding before being understood. Prioritize relationships over revenue. Lead with kindness and integrity. And remember, the goal isn't just to close a sale, it's to create lasting value. When you operate from that place, you'll discover that closing sales without being pushy isn't just possible, it's natural. Let's dive deeper into the art of building genuine connections, because at its core, selling is about relationships. Think about the people you trust most in your life, your closest friends, your family members, maybe even a mentor or coach. What makes those relationships strong? It's not just shared experiences or common interests. It's the sense that they truly care about you. They listen when you speak, they celebrate your wins, and they're there for you during tough times. That same principle applies to sales. When you show up with authenticity and empathy, people don't see you as someone trying to sell them something. They see you as someone who wants to help them succeed. Now let's break this down further. How do you demonstrate that kind of care in a sales conversation? Start by being fully present. This might sound simple, but in today's fast-paced world, it's easier said than done. Put away distractions, yes, even your phone, and give the other person your undivided attention. Lean into the conversation, both literally and figuratively. Show them through your actions that they matter. If you're meeting virtually, maintain eye contact with the camera, nod occasionally, and use verbal cues like "I see" or "that makes sense." These small gestures go a long way in creating a positive impression. Another powerful way to build trust is by sharing personal insights or anecdotes. People connect with people, not faceless entities. So don't be afraid to open up a little. Maybe you faced a similar challenge to the one they're dealing with now. Share how you overcame it, or what you learned along the way. Vulnerability humanizes you and creates a bridge between you and the other person. Just be careful not to dominate the conversation with your own story. The goal is to make them feel seen and heard, so always bring the focus back to their needs and aspirations. Speaking of needs, let's talk about uncovering them effectively. Too often, salespeople jump straight into presenting solutions without first understanding the problem. But here's the thing, you can't prescribe medicine until you know the symptoms. Take the time to ask thoughtful, open-ended questions that encourage the other person to share more. Instead of asking, Do you struggle with managing your schedule? Try what's the biggest challenge you face when it comes to staying organized. Notice the difference. One invites a yes or no answer while the other opens the door to a richer, more detailed response. And once they start talking, resist the urge to interrupt. Let them finish their thoughts completely before you respond. Active listening builds rapport and gives you valuable information to work with. As you gather these insights, look for patterns or recurring themes. For example, if they mention feeling overwhelmed multiple times, it's likely a significant pain point for them. Acknowledge it directly. It sounds like feeling overwhelmed is really impacting your day-to-day life. Am I understanding that correctly? Validating their feelings shows that you're paying attention and reinforces their trust in you. From there, you can position your solution as a way to alleviate that specific challenge. Frame it as a partnership. Here's how we can tackle this together. Now let's talk about framing your solution in a way that resonates deeply. One of the most effective techniques is to highlight transformation. People buy outcomes, not products or services. They want to know what their life will look like after working with you. Paint a vivid picture of that future state. Use sensory language to make it tangible. For instance, instead of saying our system helps you manage tasks better, say imagine waking up every morning knowing exactly what needs to get done and having the tools to accomplish it. Effortless. No more stress, no more wasted time, just clarity and confidence. See how much stronger that feels. You're not just describing features, you're inviting them to experience the benefits emotionally. But don't stop there. Back up your claims with proof. Testimonials, case studies, and real-world examples add credibility to your pitch. Share stories of others who were in a similar situation and achieved remarkable results. Be specific. Instead of saying, many clients have seen success, say take Sarah for example. She was struggling to balance her workload and constantly felt behind. After implementing our strategies, she reduced her weekly hours by 10 and increased her productivity by 30%. Specificity builds trust and makes your solution feel more attainable. Another key element of persuasion is addressing objections head-on. As I mentioned earlier, objections are opportunities, not roadblocks. Anticipate potential concerns and address them proactively. For example, if cost is likely to come up, acknowledge it early in the conversation. I understand that investing in a solution like this might feel like a big step. Let me explain why it's worth considering. Then pivot to discussing the long-term value they'll receive. Break it down in terms they can relate to. If your offering saves them time, calculate how many hours per week that translates to. If it boosts revenue, provide a realistic estimate based on past performance. Numbers make abstract concepts concrete and help justify the investment. Timing also plays a crucial role in closing sales naturally. There's a delicate balance between moving too quickly and waiting too long. Push too soon, and you risk overwhelming the other person. Wait too long and they might lose interest or forget about the conversation altogether. The key is to read the room, or in this case, the interaction. Pay attention to verbal and non-verbal cues. Are they nodding along enthusiastically, asking lots of follow-up questions, expressing excitement about certain features? These are signs that they're ready to take the next step. On the flip side, if they seem hesitant or distracted, slow down. Revisit areas where they may still have doubts and clarify any confusion. When the moment feels right, guide them gently toward a decision. Avoid high-pressure tactics like countdown timers or ultimatums. Instead, frame the next steps as logical and beneficial. For example, based on everything we've discussed, it seems like this could be a great fit for you. Shall we go ahead and lock in your spot? Notice how this phrasing assumes alignment while leaving the final choice in their hand. It's assertive yet respectful, a perfect blend for closing without being pushy. Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about consistency. Consistency isn't just important in your messaging, it's vital in your behavior. People form opinions about you based on repeated interaction. If you promise something, deliver it. If you say you'll follow up, do it promptly. Reliability builds credibility and strengthens relationships. Imagine meeting someone who says all the right things but never follows through. Would you trust them? Probably not. The same goes for sales. Your reputation precedes you, so make sure it's a good one. Consistency also applies to your tone and demeanor, whether you're communicating via email, phone, or video call. Aim for a steady, approachable style. Avoid dramatic shifts in energy or attitude, as these can confuse or alienate the other person. Instead, cultivate a calm, confident presence that puts them at ease. Smile as you speak, it softens your voice and makes you sound more friendly and trustworthy. Even if they can't see you, they'll feel the warmth in your words. Now let's explore the concept of reciprocity. Reciprocity is a psychological principle that states people are more likely to give when they feel they've received something first. In sales, this doesn't mean giving away freebies or discounts indiscriminately. It means providing value up front without expecting anything in return. Offer helpful tips, share useful resources, or simply take the time to educate them about their options. When you give generously, you create goodwill and set the stage for a mutually beneficial relationship. For example, let's say you're speaking with someone who's unsure whether your product is right for them. Instead of jumping straight into a sales pitch, offer a mini consultation. Walk them through a few actionable steps they can take immediately to improve their situation, even if those steps don't involve buying from you. This demonstrates your expertise and willingness to help, which builds trust and positions you as a credible authority. Later, when they're ready to invest, they'll think of you first. Another aspect of reciprocity is transparency. Be upfront about what your product or service can and cannot do. Don't oversell or exaggerate its capabilities. Honesty fosters trust and prevents disappointment down the line. If there's a limitation, acknowledge it openly and explain how you're working to address it. People appreciate candor, and it sets you apart from competitors who might resort to hype or false promises. Let's circle back to the idea of serving rather than selling. Serving means putting the other person's needs above your own desire to close the deal. It means prioritizing their success over your commission check. And while this mindset might seem counterintuitive at first, it's actually the fastest path to sustainable growth. Why? Because happy customers become loyal advocates. They refer friends, leave glowing reviews, and keep coming back for more. Word-of-mouth marketing is incredibly powerful, and it starts with delivering exceptional service. So how do you embody this servant leader mentality in practice? Start by focusing on long-term impact rather than short-term gains. Ask yourself, how can I genuinely improve this person's life, rather than how can I get them to sign today? This subtle shift in perspective changes everything. It guides your actions, shapes your conversations, and influences your decisions. It ensures that every interaction leaves the other person feeling valued and supported. One practical way to serve is by offering ongoing support. Sales shouldn't end once the contract is signed. Check in regularly to see how things are going. Provide additional training or resources to help them maximize the value of your product or service. Celebrate their milestones and offer guidance when challenges arise. Going the extra mile not only strengthens your relationship but also increases the likelihood of repeat business and referrals. Finally, let's touch on the importance of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation of effective communication. It allows you to recognize your strengths and weaknesses, adapt your approach, and continuously improve. Reflect on your past sales interactions. What worked well? What could have gone better? Solicit feedback from colleagues or mentors to gain fresh perspective. And don't shy away from constructive criticism. It's one of the best tools for growth. In addition to reflecting on your performance, pay attention to your emotional state. Sales can be an emotional roller coaster, filled with highs and lows. Staying grounded requires resilience and mental fortitude. Develop habits that nurture your well-being, such as exercise, meditation, or journaling. Surround yourself with positive influences and seek inspiration from books, podcasts, or motivational speakers. Remember, your energy is contagious. If you show up energized and optimistic, others will mirror that enthusiasm. At the heart of all these strategies lies a fundamental truth. People crave connection. They want to feel understood, valued, and empowered. When you approach sales with this mindset, you transform the entire dynamic. It stops being transactional and starts becoming transformational. It shifts from persuasion to partnership. And when you operate from that place, closing sales without being pushy becomes second nature. Keep honing your skills, keep serving others, and watch as doors open in ways you never imagined. Because at the heart of every successful sale lies a simple truth: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. At the heart of every successful sale lies a simple truth: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. By shifting your focus from selling to serving, listening over talking, and connecting over convincing, you transform the entire dynamic of the sales process. It stops being transactional and starts becoming transformational. When you prioritize relationships, trust, and authenticity, closing sales without being pushy becomes second nature. Keep honing your skills, keep serving others, and watch as doors open in ways you never imagined.